How about to go, how about to go there, how about to go there, how about to go where, how about to go here, how about now.
Where to find houses to flip. Welcome back. Now, real estate entrepreneurs are always searching for a great deal. Those that consider themselves flippers, well, what do they want? They want undervalued real estate that they can get into a contract and get it sold quickly. Well, there's a lot of flippers out there right now, but that business is not so easy because they're all looking for property. Now, how about renovators? Well, they're looking to find mediocre houses, and what do they want to do? They want to make them into mansions so that homeowners that want flashy-looking properties, they can sell them once they're already upgraded. And then, of course, there's the traditional people, the guys and gals, that want to go in and fix properties up, used and abused property, and then they want to resell them. So all of these people, what are they looking for? They're looking for houses they can buy and they can turn over and do something with. So we can call that flipping, we can call it fixer-uppers, we can call renovators, whatever you want, but they can all find as many properties as they want at the tax-defaulted auctions. Over 3,000 counties in the United States sell tax-defaulted property. Now, how do I know about this? Well, I've been involved in a subset of the traditional real estate for over 30 years. It's called tax-defaulted real estate. Now, when I discovered that these properties weren't all abandoned, they weren't all wasteland and junk, I never looked back. I'm about to reveal some pretty amazing opportunities. So I'll be right back and give you the details. I've tested dozens of strategies, tactics. I've done every technique that you can imagine. I've shifted and I've looked for deals in all kinds of different places. But where do we find the best deals? I'm going to tell you right now, if you want big paydays, you need to learn about tax defaulted properties. Now, where are they? They're going to be in every county in America. There's all 3,000 counties are going to auction tax defaulted property. Some of these properties are sold for 10 cents on the dollar. Some are sold for even more than that. Others are sold with starting bids of only $100. All right, now this business is not for everyone. These properties are not glamorous. They're used and abused. Some are junk. Some just need minor fix-up. But I can tell you, you're probably not going to hear from the editor of the local newspaper that's going to do a 2-page spread all about you and your beautiful, glamorous properties. Because what we're doing is we're buying bread and butter property. We're buying them at the right prices, 10, 20, 30 cents on the dollar. We buy them low, then we sell them low. And who do we sell them to? To all the people I just talked about. The renovators want to buy from us. The flippers want to buy from us. The fixer-upper people want to buy from us. So what do? We buy it low, we sell it low, and leave a little profit. All right, so that's going to happen, and it's happening all across America. So tax-defaulted property could be anything. It could be a single-family home. It could be a residential lot. It could be a small apartment property, small farm, small office building. You're getting the idea. What's happened with these properties? They're same as traditional real estate, but the property owners have failed to pay the tax. When they fail to pay the tax, well, that has a consequence. What's the consequence? Well, the local county, the treasurer needs money to pay bills. So where do they get the money for that? They get the money for that by confiscating those tax defaulted properties, and then they resell them. They don't want those properties. All right. So this business has been perfected, and I've been doing it in the trenches for deals. This is big money, and this is the way you can make money continuously, and it's going to be around for the next 100 years. So the local county has many employees that have to be paid. Who has to be paid? The school teachers, the police department, the fire department. You're getting the idea. All right. Now, all of these people, including the county employees, have to be paid. How are they going to get paid? Well, the money to pay property taxes is the money that's used to pay the county employees. So if someone doesn't pay the property tax, what the local county will do is the treasurer will seize the property. They'll ultimately confiscate the property, and then they'll resell it at a tax defaulted auction.
How about to go there, how about to go there, how about to go where, how about to go here, how about now.
Now, where do they do that? They do that at the county courthouse. They do it online. They're advertised in the newspaper. They're advertised on the county website. And at least once a year, every county in the United States is authorized to have at least one auction. There's going to be thousands of these properties available. All right, now this system works because it's been tested and perfected. So if you want to make big money, this is a money business. There's no doubt about that. All right, so the local employees that haven't been paid, well, they're going to quit their job. So the county knows right away, get these properties sold and get the money rolling in. All right. Now, the county has obligations, and they get a lot of them, and so they take them seriously. So if you don't pay or someone doesn't pay a property tax, they're going to seize that property and sell it at auction, and they don't care what they get for it. They want to make sure they get just the back taxes. So the property auction could start at just the back taxes, which might be less than 10 cents on the dollar. I've definitely seen properties start out at $100, but I don't know if they'll finish at $100 because the auction sells to the highest bidder. Whoever the highest bidder is gets the property. Now, this is a nice deal because when the property is sold at auction, the treasurer and the tax collector, they're going to wipe out the mortgage and the deed of trust. So that means these properties are sold without an encumbrance for a loan on it. So the deed of trust and the mortgage is wiped out and property is sold to the highest bidder. County does not want the property. The county wants to get rid of the property so they can pay all the bills that they've already had due. Now, this is a solution for people that are looking for properties. There's going to be plenty of them that you can figure it out yourself. What can you do with them? Maybe you just need to touch them up and clean them up and then resell them. How are you going to resell them? Well, you should sell them using the strategies that we use, and I'll go through that in just a minute. All right. Now, the county only wants that minimum amount of revenue. So remember that. They just want to get rid of the property so you can go to these auctions, and there's going to be plenty of them. You see those little white circles? That's how many auctions are taking place within that state in the next 90 days. This calendar updates every single day. I'm here today to show you how to make money. To do that, I'm going to show you briefly that there are thousands of tax defaulted real estate properties across the 3,000 plus counties in the United States. This is quite interesting. You're looking at the Ted Thomas Magic Interactive Map and Auction Calendar. It changes every day. Now, I created the calendar and the map so I would know how many auctions are taking place every day in the United States. Now I can show the little guy how to make money. Most importantly, I created this system so I could have an auction list for each auction 24/7. Small population counties, they'll have dozens, sometimes as many as 100 properties to sell. However, the large population counties could have 100 and sometimes more than 1,000 properties to auction. All the properties are auctioned without a mortgage and without a deed of trust loan. The starting bid will be at least the back taxes, somewhere in the 10 to 20 cents on the dollar range. Now, all of these properties are assessed by the tax assessor. However, the properties are discounted 60%, 70%, 80% because they've got to get rid of the property. So the tax assessor has one value way up here of the property. However, the treasurer wants to get rid of it, so they're going to sell it at a low price. Highest bidder will always get the property. All right, so tax defaulted real estate is sold for as low as the delinquent taxes. That's a note you should write down. Now, many of my students follow a process I call buy low and sell low. Why do we do that? Because we want to buy the property at the cheapest one we can, and we don't try to go for retail. So we don't buy it low and try and sell it high. We try to sell it low. So who are we going to sell it to? To all those people that were looking for property. Now, who are they? They're going to be fixer-upper people, people that want to do renovations. You're going to get the idea. So those people are the ones that we want to sell to. And I'll tell you the different ways we're going to sell them. So think about this. If you could buy properties for 10 or 20 cents on the dollar with no mortgage, how many would you want to buy? All right, well, the big key is, let's see what we can do about selling them. Who do you want to sell them to? Well, you certainly want to sell them to fixer-upper people, people that do renovations, but there's another whole group, a whole market out there that most people don't even know about, and that's the market with people that have poor FICO scores. What does that mean? That means those people that have been through divorce or bankruptcy or haven't taken care of their credit. Those people are rejected. They're rejected by the bank. The bank says, no, we won't lend to you. Well, how about if we sell these properties to those people and we give them an installment sale? Well, that would sure work because what they have is they probably have a good job. Maybe they've been in the same job for 10 to 20 years, but if they go to do it through a divorce, what's going to happen to their credit score? If they've had any other problems in their life, they have problems with their credit score. So what we want to do is we want to be able to sell to them. All right, so where do they find the houses they want? They want a house that they're not too ashamed of, but they may be willing to buy that house and be the fixer-upper person or the renovator person. They're willing to do that. Why? Because they can't get credit anywhere else. But if you'll give them credit, it's going to make a big change. All right, so the properties that we're going to sell at tax defaulted auctions, they don't smell so good. They're not freshly built. They're used and abused. I didn't say buy any junkers, but there's plenty of properties that just need to be cleaned up and they're ready to sell. Okay, what are we talking about today? We're talking about where to find houses to flip. You're going to find those at tax defaulted auction.
How better go there? How better go there? How better go where? How better go here? Better go here? How better now? How better go where now? Here better go. How better go.
So ask yourself this question. If you could buy a slightly used and abused property for 10 or 20 cents on the dollar, and then you could put signs on it, or you could use eBay or Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, any one of those places. If you wanted to use any of those to sell, you could do that. You could do that sitting at your computer. Well, if you bought for 10 to 20 cents on the dollar, and now you could sell for 50 or 60 cents on the dollar to a fixer-upper person or a renovator person or anyone that wants to get a property that needs cleanup, folks, you're in business and you got a business that'll sell properties quickly. The local county needs money. They need money because they have bills to pay. One of my clients showed up in Tampa, Florida, in a county just north of Tampa, rural county, and found an auction property. All right. Now, this population of this county was very low. The property did not look good. It was definitely abused. It was covered with trees. Nobody wanted to bid on it, but he bid on this property. Before he did that, he did the common things that you need to do, and that is go out and check the property and see what the condition was. He ended up with this property for $9,100. I said $9,100. The tax assessor said the property was worth $91,000. So here he bought a property for pennies on the dollar, basically 10 cents on the dollar, and he can do anything he wants with it. All right, so he could sell it if he wants to, he could rent it if he wants to, or he could do a combination of that. He can do anything he wants with the property. He could sell it for the $9,100, but before he bought the property, he had gone out and checked the neighborhood. What did he find out? That the property was worth well over $91,000. It was worth $150,000. So he sold it to the tenant that was in the property, who was a fixer-upper person, and the tenant said, I'll fix it up if you'll give me a contract of sale installment payments. So he sold the property for $5,000 down payment, and he gets payments until $150,000 is paid for. You're getting the idea. So these people are finding flipper houses that they want at the tax defaulted auctions. Now, I come from a very practical world, and I say if you can find real estate for 10 or 20 cents on the dollar that you can purchase without a mortgage or a deed of trust loan, and you could resell it, and it has a high tax assessed value, where else are you going to find those? You're going to find those at tax defaulted auctions. Now, I didn't say there wasn't any risk, but I am saying that there's plenty of properties that you can buy. If you're going to make big money, and that's what you need in the future, follow a specific system. It's going to take some time to implement all of this into your life. It can turn into a great business, but I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to require work. A quick review. These properties are sold for 10 to 20 cents on the dollar. However, there'll be bidding going on. Property goes to the highest bidder. Anybody can bid as long as they've got money at the auction. Properties are sold in all 3,000 counties. They're sold online and they're sold offline. If you want to buy tax defaulted properties, you've got to think about this. Number one, you need to look at the property. Why? What if there was a fire? What if there was a windstorm? What if there was a flood? What if it was next to a chicken farm? You want to find out all those things before you buy the property. So you don't want to buy a property you haven't looked at. Secondly, you want to know what your exit strategy is. All right, know what you're going to sell it for before you buy it. That'll keep you from bidding too high. And then finally, for those of you that want one, we have an auction list. If you'd like to see a sample of an auction list, just go below me and I'll give you a sample of an auction list. I'm Ted Thomas. See you on the next video. Don't forget, request your free auction list right below me.